News, brought to you by the stunning Megane Cabriolet. Renault, we don't just make cars, we create cars.
10's Late News with Tracy Spicer.
Tonight, a chilling twist in our boat people crisis as children are thrown overboard. Australia rejects Taliban terms for releasing Western aid workers in Kabul. And family issues dominate day 2 of the election campaign. Good evening. First, a chilling twist in Australia's boat people crisis. Asylum seekers have thrown their own children overboard in a desperate bid to gain entry into Australia. The drama was unfolding as the government announced tough new laws to protect our borders.
187 asylum seekers left West Java on Friday, their vessel intercepted in Australian waters by a Navy frigate late yesterday. Early today, a boarding party persuaded the crew to turn around in the face of stiff penalties. It was then the Australian Navy was confronted by incredibly disturbing scenes. Asylum seekers began jumping overboard. They even threw children into the water.
All of the people involved came prepared and were wearing life jackets.
I want to make that very clear. We are a humane nation, but we're not a nation that's going to be intimidated by this kind of behaviour.
Extra temporary accommodation arrived on Christmas Island yesterday, but the federal government still hopes Indonesia will take the boat people back.
There is no way this group of people will be brought to the Australian mainland.
They're the first to fall under tough new laws protecting Australia's borders. Refugee or not, anyone caught paying people smugglers to gain illegal entry will never get permanent residence, their families will never be able to join them, and if they leave Australia, they will never be able to return. The laws also changed the country's legitimate entry points. Struck off the map, Ashmore, Cartier, Christmas and Cocos Islands will no longer be part of our migration zone. People landing here will instead be taken to a third safe country, like Nauru, for processing.
But it's spent something more like 120 million already, putting the handful of people that they've done on Nauru. It's a massively expensive operation, as well as being morally indefensible.
Many community leaders were left shell-shocked today as the Immigration Minister also announced people arriving without identification would be unlikely to be granted refugee status.
They are in a desperate situation.
Anyone travelling through a safe country such as Indonesia to Australia will not get a permanent visa. Alison Blanksby, 10 News.
Pakistan has taken its most positive step towards helping the fight against Afghanistan, putting a senior Taliban supporter under house arrest. The move came amid signs strikes are about to be launched against the Taliban. Now diplomatic, military and humanitarian preparations are complete. Anticipating that, the Taliban has begun moving thousands of troops towards the border with Uzbekistan.
There is now little debate. Time is running out for the Taliban. British Prime Minister Tony Blair, just back from a whirlwind trip to Russia, Pakistan and India, is speaking with a new urgency. He says all fronts have been covered and the Taliban has had plenty of time to surrender Osama bin Laden.
Well, the Taliban's now had several weeks in which to respond. They know perfectly well what they have to do.
Those words echoed by US President George Bush during a radio address to America.
The Taliban has been given the opportunity to surrender all the terrorists in Afghanistan and to close down their camps and operations. Full warning has been given, and time is running out.
The crucial diplomatic support is in place and the military campaign gathers strength. US troops are now on their way to the former Soviet Republic of Uzbekistan, the move only possible with the support of former rival Russia. In Afghanistan, tensions remain high. The sight of an unidentified plane over Kabul raising the alarm for some residents. Taliban troops responded, launching anti-aircraft fire towards the plane. Tensions in neighbouring Pakistan also high. The country continues to be divided over its position. Anti-American and anti-British demonstrations across the country attracted thousands of people.
We want to tell the whole world that we want justice for Osama bin Laden. He should be tried in court, I think.
The focus remains, however, on the Taliban, and there are growing claims the regime may fall without a single shot being fired. That doesn't appear to have influenced the timing of the military campaign, though. Jenny Crouch, 10 News.
The Australian government has dismissed a Taliban offer to free 2 Perth aid workers on condition America ends its threat of military action.
It's been 62 days since Diana Thomas and Peter Bunch were arrested in Kabul for preaching Christianity. Now comes the shock news the Perth pair and 6 other aid workers could be treated as hostages. The Taliban has made an offer to exchange them for a US backdown on military strikes.
I think it is entirely inappropriate to use aid workers as bargaining chips in this sort of a way.
Today, about 700 parishioners at the North City Christian Centre gathered to pray for the release of their friends.
You certainly ride a roller coaster of emotions. You feel good one day and then next day you feel uncertain. But I still remain very confident they'll be released.
Little is known about how the aid workers are. Diana Thomas's family has received a fax saying that she has been moved and is doing well. It was written by someone else, but signed by Diana. Today, Australia joined the US and Germany in rejecting the release of the aid workers for no military action. Diana Thomas and Peter Bunch's Supreme Court trial is due to resume on Tuesday.
I think America stated from the start that they won't do any negotiation, and we don't expect any negotiation to take place. We expect the Taliban to continue the trial, finish the trial, and then expel them from the country.
The Taliban's offer came as they released British reporter Yvonne Ridley. She'd been detained on suspicion of espionage. Claudia Bertorello, 10 News.
Family welfare took centre stage on the second day of election campaigning. Labor unveiled a $200 million package for parents, while John Howard hinted at family-specific tax cuts.
Yesterday, a tough leader in troubled times. Today, the softer side.
We could run the Bathurst race here, couldn't we?
Kim Beazley donned his family-friendly hat for day 2 of the election campaign, unveiling a $263 million package to better balance work and family.
This is all about making life easier for Australian families.
Labor has unveiled this official campaign slogan to hammer home its message.
A secure future for all Australians. That's what I stand for.
And today, the first sign that Kim Beazley is catching up on the Prime Minister in the opinion polls. The survey of voters in 4 marginal and regional Victorian electorates shows Labor surging ahead of the coalition. The latest McNair poll has Labor winning a 1.5% swing, well beyond the less than 1% it needs to win. Launching the campaign drive for 5 Liberals, John Howard joined Kim Beazley in shrugging off the polls and signalled he has plans to help families as well. The Prime Minister is hinting that the shrinking budget surplus may make parents the only group to win further income tax relief.
The initiatives we have may well be of greater benefit to people with children. They have been in the past.
But John Howard has rejected Kim Beazley's call for their one and only official leaders' debate to be held after the release of the country's economic books, saying it's the only date available.
If the debate is to be held on a Sunday, which is the preferred time, it has to take place next weekend. It's as simple as that.
If this bloke's got real leadership, then he will debate me in the last weekend of the campaign, when all our cards are on the table.
Deborah Knight, 10 News.
And still ahead in 10's late news, another glimmer of hope for Ansett Airlines. A big boost for the fight against asthma. And later, thousands brave an icy Melbourne dawn to strip for art.
Last year, this couple made a stunning entrance.
Cool top them this year. 7:30 Monday, Channel 10 rolls out the red carpet for the 2001 Emmy Awards.
Who's on the A-list?
Sarah Jessica Parker, Ray Romano,
Callista Flockhart, Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt.
Is your favourite show nominated?
Everybody Loves Raymond, Law and Order,
Malcolm in the Middle, Sex and the City,
NYPD Blue.
A premiere exclusive event direct from LA. The Emmy Awards, 7:30 Monday, followed by The Secret Life of Us on 10.
At Renault, our designers created a better kind of car. The new Renault Scenic. We created it with standard ABS brakes and 6 airbags. We created it with 18 storage compartments, one of them chilled. And we created the Scenic with rear seats that you can move or remove completely. Renault, we don't just make cars, we create cars.
For a limited time, David Jones invites you to enjoy 3 years interest-free on our entire range of home entertainment, including our range of Panasonic Tower Giga televisions. So hurry in.
David Jones.
My staff supers with Hester for some very good reasons. Hester's a simple, convenient, no fuss fund. Easy on the budget too, with no charges to the business. And Hester has delivered strong investment returns.
Over the past 5 years, Hester has returned an average of more than 10% a year to members, or over 5 times the rate of inflation. And all the profits belong to members.
Good thing too. I want my super for my retirement.
Phone 1-800-806-608 to find out how an industry super fund like Hester looks after employers as well as employees. It's the super of the future.
I used to make these kettle chips. They called me the Fiddler. We'd select only the finest potatoes, and we crafted them with care. But you young people must have plenty of things to do without listening to an old man like me.
Hey, who's eating all the chips?
I get him every time. Suckers!
Watch out for the Whittler. Your Daikin inverter air conditioner knows when you leave the room, so it subtly adjusts the temperature. And when you return, goes gently back to your original level. It knows what you want because it has an intelligence ordinary air conditioners don't have.
Thanks for the coffee, hon.
What coffee?
The highly intelligent Daikin inverter. Think Daikin. It can.
You're watching 10's Late News. New hope for Ansett, with administrators confirming Singapore Airlines has been offered an equity stake in the stricken carrier. Singapore says it's continuing discussions to act as a consultant for Ansett Mark II, but many issues would have to be resolved before it would take on any management role. The Prime Minister says he's not opposed to any Singapore buyout.
I don't know, other than that there's talk of Singapore being interested, and if that comes to fruition, then that's good.
Tomorrow, Ansett will fly into Perth for the first time in nearly a month, but many workers are still facing uncertainty.
Perth's Ansett workers put aside the events of the past couple of weeks and today enjoyed the sunshine with their children.
There really is a family atmosphere in the Ansett workforce. I think we're seeing a lot of smiling, happy faces here today, and that's just a real relief from the stress and the pressures that people have been under for the last few weeks.
While many of the airline's employees will return to work as part of Ansett Mark II, the future of 340 workers at the airline's Perth call centre still remains unknown. They fear the rebirth of Ansett will only see the use of call centres in other states.
The Joondalup call centre is a state-of-the-art call centre. It was state government assisted in terms of locating in Joondalup. We're saying that the state government, the federal government should work together to get that call centre up and running.
Pilots are also worried that regional communities aren't being serviced by Ansett planes, which still remain grounded at Perth Airport.
We're aware that the administrator's been very busy, focused on the core operation of the airline, and that's an appropriate place to start. But I believe now that their attention is now moving further afield, and hopefully they'll be looking at the West Australian operation.
The union fired a parting shot at the state government over its lack of commitment to the collapse.
The state government has acted very, very slowly. We should be sitting around a round table with all the stakeholders, sorting out how we can get WA back flying as soon as possible.
The first Ansett plane to fly out of Perth in almost a month will leave just after midnight tonight. A second flight is scheduled for later in the day. Lisa De Cruz, 10 News.
A tragic accident has killed the baby daughter of rugby league star Julian O'Neill. 13-month-old Piper O'Neill was playing with her brother in the family home when a television set toppled on top of her. She died in the Sydney Children's Hospital yesterday when her parents made the decision to turn off her life support. Julian O'Neill, who was last in action for the North Queensland Cowboys, has been preparing to move to Britain to further his league career. Queensland Police are still investigating yesterday's car fire near the Gold Coast that left 2 children dead. Emergency crews discovered the bodies of the 9-month-old girl and 7-year-old boy inside the family's burnt-out station wagon. It's believed the fire was lit deliberately. Another boy remains in a critical condition with burns to 90% of his body. His mother in the Royal Brisbane Hospital with burns to 20% of her body. Police are still waiting to interview her. Australian doctors are to receive a $48 million funding boost to tackle one of our most common illnesses. The federal government will announce the package tomorrow to mark National Asthma Week.
It's an illness which affects 2 million Australians from all age groups, and asthma is a growing problem.
Well, the number of people with asthma have certainly increased. Fortunately, the death rates have decreased by about 30%.
But nearly 700 Australians do still die from asthma each year. Then there's the cost to the community of hospital admissions and people who are forced to take time off work. If the illness is tackled, governments can save millions and many deaths are preventable. But complacency is a danger.
Particularly when there are acute problems, things that we can't predict like viral infections or a change of season like we're going into at the moment, can cause the asthma to become unstable.
At the start of National Asthma Week, doctors say now's the time to take action.
This week they should ask either the asthma foundations or the general practitioner about an action plan, and they should be talking to general practitioners about the 3+ visit plan.
That plan will be launched tomorrow as part of a $48 million federal government initiative. Doctors will be funded to ensure asthmatics receive at least 3 visits so their condition is properly diagnosed and they receive a tailored treatment plan.
It's a very welcome initiative, and it does indicate that good planning by all parties with involvement of all the community will be a major benefit to people with asthma.
Fiona Clark, 10 News.
A renewed hope for an AIDS vaccine revealed at an international conference in Melbourne. World HIV expert Dr. Margaret Johnston says a vaccine could be only 6 to 10 years away. She says international finance is crucial, with 95% of infections occurring in developing countries.
I don't have anything yet that I'm jumping up and down about and saying, Eureka, we found it. I think that there's some very exciting things going on in the lab now that might lead to vaccines.
Still ahead in 10's late news, Melbourne answers an unusual call to art. A blaze of colour launches Paris Fashion Week. And in sports tonight, Holden's Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst, kings of the mountain at Bathurst.
You've won Bathurst twice in a turbocharged.
Physical attraction. It can strike at any time.
Hi.
The trick is...
have a good day's work.
to know when to grab it.
I think you're a very sexy woman. There's chemistry here. You've wanted me for a long time now, haven't you?
Are you sure you know what you want?
I'm sure. Are you?
Oh, yeah. Things are definitely looking up when Barina presents The Secret Life of Us, 9:30 Monday. Plus, be watching for your chance to win $100,000.
It's the Bilo Big Brand Blitz.
400ml Palmolive Naturals.
$1.97.
32 to 54 pack Huggies nappies.
$18.97.
Bilo.
Extra value for you.
For the lowest airfares, guaranteed. Call Flight Centre.
Escape to Vanuatu from $649 or Fiji from $699. Fly to Norfolk Island from $829, plus stay 7 nights from an extra $319. Hop over to the Cook Islands from $965 or Lord Howe Island from $969.
Call 131600. That's 131600.
Call Flight Centre, lowest airfares guaranteed.
The stylish new Hyundai Sonata. From only $23,990, it's the family car that gives you plenty of reasons to smile.
Upset stomach again? My Lanta effervescent tablets. Well, they better work, because the show must go on. I saw your lips move. My Lanta effervescent tablets, the better way to...
Only the best games become classics. EA Classics. Buy any one of these great EA Classics titles for your PC and you'll get another one free. Buy one, get one free. Special conditions apply, details in store.
For a limited time, David Jones invites you to enjoy 3 years interest-free on our entire range of home entertainment, including our range of Panasonic Tower Giga televisions. So hurry in.
David Jones.
Adelaide police have foiled what appears to have been plans for a major amphetamines laboratory. Drug and organised crime officers found hundreds of litres of chemicals when they raided a suburban house. There was also a large amount of glassware and recipes for making drugs. It's one of the largest chemical busts made by South Australian police, who believe the equipment could have been used to make more than $1 million worth of amphetamines. A 49-year-old man has been arrested. Authorities have rejected suggestions another fatal bomb blast in Saudi Arabia was a terrorist attack. 2 foreigners, including an American, were killed in the blast outside a busy shopping area in eastern Saudi. 4 others were injured and remain in a stable condition in hospital. The remote-controlled bomb shattered windows and damaged cars. Investigators say it appears to be an isolated incident connected with local issues. Israeli experts have joined Russian teams probing the crash of a passenger jet over the Black Sea. Investigators haven't ruled out terrorist activity, adding some debris collected from the crash site could not have come from the plane itself, indicating it was struck by another object. Fragments from the jet confirm it was destroyed by an explosion that killed all 78 on board. Ukraine has conceded one of its missiles fired in a military exercise could have accidentally brought down the plane. Although the American economy has taken a pounding since the September 11 attacks, one sector is booming. The wedding business has taken off, last month's catastrophe sparking a surge in marriages.
War weddings are back in style.
I'm worried on what's going to happen and what the future holds.
Many military personnel waiting to ship out are exchanging rings.
For richer or for poor.
This couple planned a big wedding.
Things happened and plans got changed.
Business is up 50% at many chapels, walk-ins welcome and no dress code required. Psychiatrists say people cling to each other in times of crisis.
We need each other. Our desire to be connected to other people is very primal, very deep, very old in us.
As to whether these marriages last, experts point to the enduring World War II wedding of George and Barbara Bush. Other couples maintain theirs too will last.
Although
Although they fear what the coming months will bring. One wedding official gives all her newlyweds the same advice.
if they just have a month together or a week together or even a few hours, make the most of it.
Her other advice, develop a good sense of humour, saying sooner or later they'll need it.
I present Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Fuller.
In the United States, Pam Mackay, 10 News.
Health authorities say workplace stress could be a trigger for mental illness. Mental Health Week was launched in Perth today, and this year the emphasis is on good mental health at the office. Statistics show 1 in 5 Australians suffers some form of mental disorder, and health experts now call stress the silent killer. Workers are being encouraged to take breaks, ask for support when needed, and leave work on time. Amazing scenes in Melbourne as thousands defied an icy dawn to strip naked in the name of art.
New York artist Spencer Tunick has single-handedly made getting naked for art the latest craze. So when he sent out the call, Melburnians responded in droves. More than 4,000 defying wet and icy conditions for a taste of legalised public nudity, though there were some mixed feelings in the crowd. You're not going to join in?
No, chill factor.
It's something you can tell your grandkids when you're really old and wrinkly and they can't even believe you had a life.
I'm feeling sensational. I do believe that I should show my nudity for art.
Mr. Tunick has taken his unique form of art across the United States. It got him arrested in New York, but he's thrilled with the reception at the Melbourne Fringe Festival.
I was incredibly surprised that so many people showed up. The weather was horrible and still people showed up. It was unbelievable.
Police removed a lone protester who tried to disrupt the shoot, the largest Mr. Tunick has ever done. But it didn't affect the crowd as the very young and the old, people of all shapes and sizes, cast off their inhibitions and shivered in unity. It all got a bit much for some, but you could never doubt their enthusiasm. This is an extraordinary experience to be with literally thousands of people just naked, an experience that they'll all remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's one of those experiences that you'll sort of look back in your life and say, well, remember the time we did that? It was great fun.
Great story for the grandkids.
It's been a really liberating, wonderful experience. Sensational. Yeah. My daughter asked me to come along and I have, and I'm glad I did.
I don't know that it's so much about the photo now, but it was a great feeling just doing it.
Tim Stoney, 10 News.
Rather cold feeling, I'd imagine. I'll have the latest on the weather front shortly. Then it's Sports Tonight with Steve Hart.
Thanks, Tracy. We'll have all the action from the V8 Supercar 1000. Ben Holland stays a Tiger, and a stunning goal from David Beckham steers England into the World Cup finals.
Liz is a popular gal. She's smart, she's tough, and oh, so sexy. But how many guys has she, well, you know?
Brian, Joel, Martin, Peter, Paul.
Woo! Okay, charmed. 8:30 Tuesday. With LG's spacious side-by-side fridge, everything has its place. LG, life's good.
It's the Bilo Big Brand Blitz.
3 kilo bag of Valencia oranges.
$2.47.
Legs of lamb.
$5.47 a kilo.
Bilo, extra value for you.
And me.
The stylish new Hyundai Sonata with a smooth, powerful V6 or a big 2.4-litre 4, both with the option of Selectronic transmission. From only $23,990, it's the family car that gives you plenty of reasons to smile.
What are you doing?
Collecting the barcodes from all these packs so I can enter the world's coolest Tim Tam competition and win $1 million.
Is that right?
Yeah. A Tim Tam pack is frozen in a 15-ton fridge of ice. You guess exactly how long it will take for the ice to melt and the pack to hit the floor and you'll win.
You want $1 million? Duh. We have a genie.
You could win a cool million in the world's coolest Tim Tam competition. Hit the website or phone for details.
Casey Chambers. Barricades and brick walls. The album you've been waiting for.
Anset's back, and we're spreading our wings with Kickstart fares to Perth, Brisbane and Sydney. Book now at www.anset.com.au. Anset, flying for Australia.
Witty, charming, gorgeous.
What the?
Cheeky, chatty, chick magnet.
Right, are you wearing underpants?
This week, see Tina Arena, Reese Witherspoon, and how much the Big Brother Starlight Challenge raised. Rove Live, 9:30 Tuesday.
Let's take a look now at the national weather forecast. And the satellite showing cloud persisting around the southeastern corner with heavy cover expanding across the interior. On the synoptic chart, a low in the Tasman is bringing strong winds and showers to Tasmania and the east coast, while a high is approaching Adelaide ahead of a cold front sweeping into the southwest. To the forecast now, and today should be fine in Cairns, a top of 29 degrees, Townsville 30 and Brisbane 28. A shower or two expected in Sydney, a top of 19 degrees, partly cloudy around Canberra and 16. Mainly fine for Hobart, 13 degrees, showers clearing from Melbourne and 16, becoming fine in Adelaide, 18 degrees, fine but breezy in Perth, a top of 20, showers around the top end, a maximum of 33, storms across the centre, 24 degrees. A cocktail of colour marked the launch of Cacharel's latest collection in Paris. The designer team Clemence Ribeiro presented the 2002 Spring-Summer show, full of intoxicating prints and flamboyant colours. The collection was unveiled on the second day of the fashion shows in Paris to generally positive reviews. The bright look, all designed to help create the atmosphere of summer. And of course, no outfit is complete without extravagant shoes and other accessories. And that's all from the 10 newsroom. Thanks for your company. Our next national bulletin is at 11:30 this morning, but stick around now for all the action in Sports Tonight with Steve Hart. I'm Tracy Spicer from 10's Late News team. Goodbye.
The 10 Late News, brought to you by the stunning Megane Cabriolet. Renault, we don't just make cars, we create cars.
3 months on a deserted island with no food, no electricity, and no toilet paper. Could you do it? Geordie did in the new series of Shipwrecked, where the Aussies compete with the world.
Shipwreck 3, 8 o'clock Thursday on 10.
This program proudly brought to you by Victoria Bitter, Shell Helix, KFC and the 2001 Qantas Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix.
This mountain is the heart and soul of V8 Motorsport. They're prepared and determined to conquer, but the mountain writes its own script. This is it, the V8 Supercar 1000 at Bathurst, and we're trackside for Sports Tonight.
Hello, I'm Steve Hart. Welcome to the late edition of Sports Tonight. In a moment, Matthew White with all today's action from Bathurst, and we've got plenty more sport. In the AFL, a Tiger upsets the Crows. The Blues ambush the Bushrangers.
Oh, he's got him.
And brilliant Beckham, toast of the town. And it was Holden's day at Bathurst today in the V8 Supercar 1000. Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst winning Holden's 21st victory. Matthew White covered all the action trackside.
Well, tonight it's cold and dark here at Mount Panorama, but today it was an all-weather affair for the V8 Supercar 1000 here at Bathurst. Rain, some hail, sunshine, all added to the mix of an extremely difficult and quite dangerous day. 39 cars started this race, 20 cars managed to finish it, and in the end, this car, Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst, Holden Racing Team #1 Commodore, made it to the finish line first. Let's take a look at how this race unfolded. 161 laps, 1,000 Ks around the mountain.
Let's go to work. The 2001 V8 Supercar 1000 is away and bogging it down. Russell Ingall in the middle of the grid. He's gone right back. Fortunately, everyone has avoided him. Now he gets going.
Glenn Seaton leading the 39-car field into Hell Corner, while back on the grid, Dougal McDougall's Commodore crippled by a broken tail shaft. Bad luck, something Seaton is all too familiar with, and it threatened to wreck the Falcon driver's challenge very early.
Maybe it's Seaton's car that's got the guard rubbing. Yes, it is.
Oh, yes. Series leader Mark Scaife adding to the blow.
Forward and Mark Scaife takes the lead of the V8 Supercar 1000.
Plenty of movers behind them as the lap record took a pounding. Russell Ingall charging into the top 5 after a sluggish start. John Bow even quicker as he closed on Scaife.
Bow takes the lead for the first time.
The hectic pace forcing errors. James Brock blunting the family reputation. Pole sitter Marcus Ambrose also taking a trip to the beach. Craig Lowndes flying until this mishap at Forest Elbow.
Look at this, no space, nowhere to go.
Race leader Bow finding pit lane just as difficult to negotiate.
Can you believe it, Bow? John Bow has missed his pit bay by 3 or 4 lengths, the team pushing him back.
The safety car brought out, but soon after the restart it was needed again.
Oh, there's been a big crash. That's the Donaher Cranbrook entry.
Cars leaving the road in all shapes and forms. Bathurst never fails to surprise, but how's this for shock value?
It is hailing on Mount Panorama.
The mayhem reshuffling the field. Tony Longhurst, Todd Kelly, Stephen Johnson and Stephen Richards waging a 4-car war at the front.
This is absolutely incredible stuff.
A collision involving Bow's co-driver Simon Wills and Anthony Tratt saw the safety car introduced a 3rd time. The front runners opting for the pits and the compulsory brake pad change before engine failure struck one of the favourites.
Oh no! Car 17! The Shell Helix Ford.
A light shower bringing 96 champion Lowndes into the picture, blowing by Scaife and Greg Murphy into the lead at the halfway point. But with the rain getting heavier, Forest Elbow again proved his undoing.
Lowndes is in the wall.
His chances done and dusted. Others meeting their doom on the sodden circuit. Aussie male driver Brad Jones briefly reigning at the top, having started 22nd on the grid. His pit stop leaving HRT's championship contender Jason Bright to take the mantle. Being in the lead, not necessarily the best place to be, though. The constant use of the safety car leaving the field bunched. 20 lead changes in 125 laps. Veteran Larry Perkins getting his first taste of the lead at the right end of the day. But the mad dash ahead of the final set of pit stops was to claim some notable casualties.
And then all hell broke loose. Watch in the background as the Cat Ford goes off, and then the number 2 HRT Commodore of Jason Bright.
Perkins not totally avoiding the mess, a dodgy pit entry before handing over to Ingle for the sprint to the line.
The front of the car is an absolute mess.
Scaife, Jones, Richards, Cameron McLean and Dean Canto also buckling up for the race-deciding stint. With Ingle struggling to keep the Castrol machine in a straight line, Scaife and Jones made a break.
For the lead, Scaife's just done another 2:11.4. Jones a 2:11.2. The gap 1 second.
The classic Holden versus Ford finish. Scaife wearing down the former HRT driver in one of the tightest finishes on record.
He comes across the line. He's down the bucket supercar. He has now. Scaife and Longhurst do it at Bathurst. So the full scoreboard at the end of an incredibly dramatic day. The Holden Racing Team car number 1 of Scaife and Tony Longhurst gets maximum points. The Aussie male Ford Falcon of Brad Jones and John Cleland in second, and a podium finish for Kelly and Murphy in the Kmart Commodore car number 15. Cameron McLean and Greg Ritter were the only surviving Shell Helix Ford. They finished 4th. Then you've got Richards and Canto in 5th. The Valvoline Cummins Commodore of Garth Tander and Jason Bargwana, last year's winners, in 6th. Ellery and Brabham 7th. Perkins and Ingle 8th. Seaton and Richards, Stephen Richards in 9th. And the top 10 rounded out by Cameron McConville and Rick Bates. So let's take a look at how that affects the Drivers' Championships with 2 rounds left to go in the Shell Championship Series. And Mark Scaife has taken a very big lead. He's now out to 3,050 points. He got 552 points today, and that shoots him further ahead. But Russell Ingle has now moved into 2nd position overall. Jason Bright slips back to 3rd. Stephen Johnson is now out of the race as far as the championship goes. Greg Murphy, Todd Kelly, Paul Radisich, Garth Tander, Ellery and Stephen Richards. Straight after the race, I was on the podium at Mount Panorama with our winners.
This is our grand final. I mean, it's just an unbelievable race today. And, the guys did a great job. Tony did not make a mistake, and that was the thing about today. You needed to be there at the end, and the car was just unbelievable.
Tony, a quick word. When Mark came across the start-finish line, what was your feeling?
Pretty special. I've never done that before. I suppose I've done it before.
Well, you've done it once before.
I forget. It's just fantastic. It's such a tough day. He's a champion. He deserves it.
So that wraps it up here from another dramatic day at Bathurst. The V8 Supercar 1000 around Mount Panorama always provides plenty of excitement and drama, and the party is still underway for the Holden Racing Team.
The Adelaide Crows have been dealt a blow, with Ben Holland reversing his decision to return home by re-signing with the Tigers for 3 years. The 24-year-old putting pen to paper this morning in a deal worth $1 million.
It's one of the biggest backflips in years. Ben Holland is staying at Tigerland.
We've weighed up some things and I thought, well, I'm comfortable here at Richmond. There's fantastic players, fantastic supporters, fantastic environment, coaches, things like that. And I realised why leave?
On Friday, the key defender said he was returning home to Adelaide to play with the Crows, prompting a verbal send-off from Chief Executive Mark Brayshaw, in which he questioned Holland's integrity.
At the end of the day, when we were able to sit across the table from Ben and his dad, issues of integrity and so forth would disappeared immediately.
Everyone gets very stressed, very tired, and I see those comments as the club upset that someone's walking out on them, but I mean, footy clubs are like that.
The new deal will see Holland stay with the Tigers until 2004. Bomber Premiership player Damien Hardwick's future not so certain. He's anxiously awaiting Tuesday's final day of trades to see if he stays at Windy Hill.
It's been a really long week, and look, I love Essendon and I'm hoping to stay there, but at the end of the day I've just got to weigh up all my options, where the future lies and so forth. So.
The Australian team had their first training session today ahead of Friday's opening international against Ireland. The new coach learning as he goes.
I've been poring over tapes, mate, which is about as much as I can do, really, and spending too much time with Jim Steins, which is always a worry.
Brisbane's Chris Scott and Geelong's Brenton Sanderson have come into the squad to replace the injured Michael Voss and Jonathan Hay.
Central District has won back-to-back premierships in the SANFL competition in South Australia. The Dogs savaged the Eagles by 39 points in today's grand final.
Central went into the match as favourite against the hard-running Eagles. The Dogs supporters were out in force as Arnott used the strong breeze for the first goal.
That could be the opening goal, it is!
While the Eagles were in fine touch, Central was building a break, McArdle kicking accurately. Kluzek grabbed one back for his side,
So the Eagles have responded there.
but it was the Dogs by 8 points at the break as tempers became overheated.
She's on, it's on out there. I knew that would happen.
This was going to be a war of attrition, and the Eagles weren't taking a backward step.
Kicks a goal.
The match was starting to swing their way. Colwell's true kick important.
He puts the Eagles in front for the first time this afternoon.
Central lost McArdle to an awkward landing, but his teammates stepped up as the Premiers regained the lead, up by 5 points at half-time. Last week, the Eagles blew Port Adelaide away in the third quarter. Daniel Healy wasn't about to let the same thing happen to Centrals today, twice proving deadly up forward. Down by 19 points, Eagles coach Ron Fuller was looking for answers. But again, it was the Dogs making all the right moves and being rewarded up forward.
With his second goal of the season, it's a big one for the Bulldogs.
Central up by 30 points after keeping the Eagles scoreless, Fuller needing to find a miracle. It didn't happen.
And he's kicked it. What about that?
It was a case of the Eagles walking wounded as their premiership dream disappeared.
Oh, start celebrating if you're a Doggies fan. It's gone. It's back to the Dogs.
Central just too good. Rick McGowan, the Jack Oatey medalist. As the Eagles tasted defeat for the second time in a year, the Dogs held up that cup.
You're watching Sports Tonight. After the break, there's still plenty more action to come from here at home and around the world.
Scrum's holding up okay.
Next, Wendell Saylor, rugby union star.
Here comes Wendell. He just couldn't hold on.
And domestic cricket gets into full swing.
Oops, gone.
You're watching Sports Tonight.
Tuesday.
Hey! How many times I gotta tell you, quit sliding menus under my door? Look, I've eaten in this crappy restaurant.
Don't think I don't know what's going on down there, Joe. I've seen that dumpster full of dog collars.
That's Becca Tuesday. Then he's caught in the act.
Excuse me, can I help you?
You want to help me? Close your bedroom curtains.
Not once, but twice.
How could you? In Raymond's basement.
Not what you think!
Everybody loves Raymond at 8, following Becca Tuesday on 10.
The less that happens to the oil in your engine, the better it protects. Which is why, together with Ferrari, Shell developed Helix. Even in the white heat of racing, Helix stays calm. And if Shell can protect a Ferrari, who better to protect your car?
And after your lumbar Barossa Shiraz.
Cheers, lovely.
No. Second time lucky, eh? No. Sorry, mate. We'll get there in the end, eh? Parker.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
What was wrong with the first two?
Nothing. Just thought I'd sort the boys out in the kitchen with a nice drink. Lovely jubbly.
What a wicked game to play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you, and I don't want to fall in love with you.
Race in for a cool Nokia 3310 $0 phone on a $20 a month plan with no connection fee. Connect today on 132041. Minimum commitment $420 over 24 months. Offer ends November 4.
Introducing Synergy 8000. High-octane, premium, unleaded fuel. Thankfully only available to adults. Only available at Melbourne.
Thousands of Papua New Guinea Rugby League fans queued before dawn this morning for a chance to see the PNG Kumals take on the visiting Australian Kangaroos in a one-off test. In oppressive conditions, the Aussies quickly jumped out to an 18-0 lead, but the locals hung in there and they had reason for hope with the Kumals barging over just before the break.
Direct enough. Inside ball. This one's big. Makali Aishwar. He goes in. Makali Aishwar. Try number one. The Kumals come back.
The Kangaroos' class in the Yan was too much for the spirited Kumals. Debutants starring Jamie Lyon with 3 tries and Nathan Blacklock crossing twice. Blacklock celebrating in his usual style. The final score 54-12. And former Rugby League international Wendell Saylor has made a winning rugby union debut for Queensland against New South Wales. A crowd of more than 14,000 turned out at Ballymore last night to watch Saylor in action. But he was showing signs of nerves in his first touch of the ball.
Here comes Wendell. He just couldn't hold on.
One thing I just forgot about, when you play rugby league or rugby union, the fundamentals are to catch the ball, so still a bit dirty about that. But the game was good, and it's always good to beat New South Wales.
Saylor was on the field for the final quarter in the Reds' 17-point win, with Rick Nalatu crossing for 3 tries. Defending one-day champions, the New South Wales Blues have started the ING Cup season on a high with a huge win over Victoria. A captain's knock from Shane Lee with 83 off 93 balls set up victory for the Blues. Victoria's innings quickly unravelling after Don Nash destroyed the top order. As the Bushrangers chased the 257-run target, Shane Warne came close to becoming the first player to win $1 million in a new ING initiative. His slashing 6 just missing the expensive sign. New South Wales claimed a bonus point in their 123-run win, dismissing Victoria for a poor 133 in the 36th over. Shane Lee, the top scorer, Don Nash, the best of the bowlers, with 3 for 31. And can Leighton Hewitt do anything wrong? The US Open champion has now added the Japan Open title to his list, beating Michelle Krajcevil in straight sets. Next, we'll return to the mountain and let Mark Aston do whatever it is he does.
Well, there's no need to snap at me.
Plus, the global picture. Highlights and results. This is Sports Tonight.
You can get it dipping. You can get it chipping. You can get it having a row. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter. You can get it lumping. You can get it thumping. You can get it any old how. Matter of fact, I got it now. Victoria Bitter.
A new album from Garbage. In store now. Beautiful garbage.
For the lowest airfares, guaranteed. Call Flight Centre.
Escape to Vanuatu from $649 or Fiji from $699. Fly to Norfolk Island from $829, plus stay 7 nights from an extra $319. Hop over to the Cook Islands from $965 or Lord Howe Island from $969.
Call 131600. That's 131600.
Call Flight Centre, lowest airfares guaranteed.
No dramas.
No hassles.
No grief.
No ties.
No commitments.
No aggro.
No doing 2 years.
No confusion.
No small print.
No lawyers.
No bollocks. No plans.
New Vodafone No Plans. No lock-in contracts, pay monthly or prepay. No confusing rates. See what happens when you're part of something bigger?
I wanna be connected. A new album from Garbage. In store now. Beautiful garbage.
They're headed for Australia, and you can't beat the world's best. Our dedicated team bring you all the action from our exclusive coverage. The Qantas Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, Saturday and Sunday, live on 10.
Here are this week's lucky winners in the TUI's new Melbourne Cup competition. Each has a 1 in 24 chance of becoming the TUI's new millionaire. For competition details, check out our website, tuisnew.com.au.
Welcome back. David Beckham is the toast of the town tonight after a stunning captain's kick propelled England into the World Cup finals. His goal gave his side a 2-2 draw with Greece, enough to qualify for the finals.
Flying the flag in a gentle Manchester breeze, a reassuring expectation around the ground that Sven's men were coming to put the finishing touches to their rollercoaster campaign. Inside the ground, they were partying before the match had even started. But keeping control of your own destiny brings its own burdens, as England soon discovered. In the first half, the Greek side clearly hadn't read the script. They were faster, more inventive, and after 35 minutes, they were in front. Even players like Paul Scholes, renowned for their reliability, seem to have lost their sense of direction. Up and down the country, fans were beginning to wonder, until a goal from Sheringham transformed the mood. Undiluted celebrations, but very short-lived, as Greece simply scored again. With 90 minutes up, Sven's Midas touch seemed to have vanished, but then England's golden boy took one last pot at goal. David Beckham was outstanding today. That goal and Germany's draw against Finland meant Sven-Göran Eriksson could finally let it go. But if he seemed excited, this was a boys' own finish for every fan in the country. England could not have left it later.
Someone just said to me, I wish you'd scored the first free kick instead of the 19th. So it was definitely nice to get a goal, especially it being at Old Trafford.
With Korea and Japan now beckoning, every player here is being treated like a hero, however they played today. But there's only one star of this show, and tonight England have their team captain to thank for setting them en route to the World Cup finals.
And on to golf now. Kari Webb is just off the money going into the final round of the Samsung World Championships in the States. One shot behind tournament leader Dorothy DeLassen.
Fine shot.
The shot of the day went to Julie Inkster, and while she's 4 back from DeLassen, an eagle out of the bunker on the 18th gave her plenty of hope for tomorrow. Nice shot, and plenty of nice moves afterwards as well. Japan was the scene for the Pacific Grand Prix in the 500cc's round 13 of the championship. Loris Capirossi